Hello, fellow trainers, and welcome. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a kind of a review of the recently released trailer for Pokemon Winds and Waves. Kind of give my quote-unquote expert opinion, just being a seasoned Pokemon fan, and really explain kind of where I have high hopes. Later on in the video, we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive and a little bit of a one-to-one comparison. So first of all, let's go start. We're going to run through the video real quick. I'm just going to pick up a couple of things I noticed. And yeah, we'll see where it takes us. To start out here, I really like Pokemon has a really interesting habit of anytime they're announcing new games, they'll usually do some type of either presentation or countdown of all of their previous generations. If I remember right, with Scarlet and Violet, they actually did a countdown where they said, welcome to Kanto, welcome to Johto. So here's kind of that same similar display of all the previous generations. Right there you have Lumio City, Alola Shores, you have Galar, different like with the Hammerlock City. Then you have Mesagoza from Paldea. Sneak peek of this one. So very common thing they like to do. Pikachu here, I've heard good things, I've heard bad things from different people. How some people like how he looks with the super hyper realistic graphics, and other time people just don't like it. This one confused a lot of people. This threw a lot of people out. I myself thought these were new starters until they revealed it's Pikachu's outfits. Actually, these two are version exclusives. So if we swing over to the Pokemon's website here, introduces us to Mr. Windichu and Miss Wavichu. They seem to be part of the experience. From everything I've heard, different YouTubers kind of giving their thoughts on it. They're both version exclusive. So Mr. Windichu is only in Pokemon Winds. Mrs. Wavichu, by nature of their name, by her name, is going to be in Pokemon Waves. So they seem to be almost like hotel mascots. I'll kind of get into that a little bit as we get further into the video. So, but they are very much version exclusive. So depending on what game, you'll have Mr. Windichu or you'll have Mrs. Windichu. I am biased. I like how Mr. Windichu looks. I think he looks adorable. That hat, the glasses, it's just so fun. But swinging back to the trailer. Of course, big giveaway, Game Freak, maker of the Pokemon games. And this sweep right here is kind of where I want to start. So this sweep right here, when it's kind of going into just the outlook, I really think at the end of the day, Game Freak was trying to prove a point. They've heard the critiques. They know everything that everybody's been complaining about with the different games. And for later on in the video, I'll kind of break down more of why I think that this is a real, like, hey, we hear you. We want to prove to you this is going to be different, and why I have such high hopes for this game. So kind of going back into number one, that water for Pokemon standards. And like I said, we'll do a comparison to another trailer later on in the video, but that water is super clear. And I think it looks great. Like, obviously it's not on the same level as like other main like AAA games, but for Pokemon, and that's the biggest thing, like everything here is by standards of Pokemon. Like, we're holding Pokemon to its own little standard here. So, but overall, I think the shot looks great. It's a good way to kind of bring in the focus. From everything I've heard from the leaks and everything, this definitely much going to be an island traversal, which I think would be fun. Kind of a mix up a little bit more in depth to what we got compared to Alola and Hoenn, where there's a little bit of island traversal, but there really wasn't, because it was still old school Pokemon mindset, where it's like a little bit of a watery terrain. And then Alola was when Pokemon first started getting really railroady. I guess it technically started with Kalos, but Alola's really got railroady. We had certain islands you couldn't really travel easily between them. So big swoop in here. This right here another spot I think Pokemon's proving a point. Once again, we'll do a comparison, but the fact that this windmill, if you look, moves at, I don't think it's quite 60, but pretty dang close. Like, you can't see anything there. I love the shots where kind of the swoop in, the dramatic music, introducing these Pokemon, how they're reacting in what seem to be their natural habitats. Like the shot of Tropius right there, looking at the greenery around him. I think it looks really good. There doesn't seem to be as many like 2D flat images here. I really appreciate what they're showing here. Very lush, very diverse greenery. Tropius looks good. And you got Whale Lord. I really hope, because one of the big complaints I've seen with Pokemon games is the scale. Whale Lord is the biggest offender of this. So it's always dorky when you're battling, you throw out your Whale Lord, and Whale Lord is like the size of a Slowpoke or another Pokemon right next to it. It's just like, Whale Lord's supposed to be absolutely massive. So I really hope they keep this to scale, because it'd be just so cool. Just you throw out this Whale Lord and just monopolizes the space. I think that would be fun. So, and then right here, once again, like I said, I'll get it before. Pokemon is proving a point. And there's a second windmill. Keep that in mind. 2 windmills now. So that they're proving a point. But overall, I believe from what I've heard, this is supposed to be like a little resort where your main character, as we can see, right here, as it goes on, you are shown basically at the hotel. So from what I understand, according to leaks and other people's thoughts, is that home base will be this hotel. Basically, it's supposed to be almost like a vacation for our protagonists. So we'll be like coming from a different region and visiting this region as tourists, which I think is fun. I mean, it seems to be kind of, that's how Pokemon's always kind of done its thing outside of Kanto. Maybe a couple other games where you're either newly moved in, thinking of Hoenn, of Alola, Paldea. All of those is where you basically like moved into the area recently, you're getting used to the area, and then you start your journey in like this new world where Kanto, Galar, and all those, and I believe Johto as well, you seem to be like more native. So I really like that aspect. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. You are a tourist. So I love that. Going out exploring the spot. I've heard people think that this right here is like a lure. A potential thought, either a lure or a lamp. Like, you could put something in there. I think that's a really good, fun idea. More like, I think this balloon here might be some type of mini game. They've done these in the past where it's kind of like you had the race to do something. They did it in Legends Arceus. They did it in Paldea with your ride Pokemon. So I think it'd be cool if they did something like that. A type of mini game. And you have Little Nimble, you have Talos kind of going on. Oh, I went too far. And right here, we have our outdoor Pokemart and Poke Center, which is kind of something they started doing primarily, of course, in Paldea. First, like, major, like, open world Pokemon experience, to where you don't have to like worry about going in and out. You worry about kind of that cut and load back into an indoor place, or having to render an indoor place. So I do like how they kind of do this. It makes it very seamless. You kind of just run up when you need a heal, you need to buy items, you call it good. And I definitely think, looking at the characters here, the NPCs, the Nurse Joy and the Mart shopkeeper, the clerk, definitely being more of that islander aesthetic. Like, they seem more like the darker skin. Definitely hammers home the point that this is more likely, as according to leaks and different people thinking, this is Indonesia, which I think is gonna be fun. I've heard people talk about it's the first like quote unquote third world country, even though it has one of the most populous cities in the world. But the diversity of animal life and things they can do with Indonesia, I think will be very fun. Kind of breaks away from that either Japanese or Western civilization. In essence, widens the Pokemon world, which I think is fun. Definitely gives a different way of looking at Pokemon, and different good like that's the big thing with the change with Hoenn, is it went from Kanto and Johto, where it was more like mountainous environment and whatnot, and switching over to Hoenn, where it's very tropical. So you had a lot of like just different Pokemon that weren't quite the same as you see in Johto Hoenn. It's the very first like major shift. And then kind of the same point with Unova. It went from, basically, Unova's supposed to be like far away, which is why when it first introduced in Black and White 2, there was like all new Pokemon, because it's supposed to be very distant from the other regions. So I'm hoping we kind of get a similar thing with there, where we have like some returning Pokemon. I hope my buddy Axew is here. It'd be very sad if this is the first game he's left out on. But I don't think there's gonna be a ton of returning Pokemon. I mean, there's gonna be a decent amount, because I don't think Pokemon want to balloon their numbers up. I mean, we're already past 1,000 now. I don't think they want to balloon it like crazy. But I do think there's gonna be a good hefty amount of new Pokemon, given that this is supposed to be like pretty distant, I'm hoping, from geographically where the rest of the Pokemon regions are. Going in here, once again, that water, the waves look good compared to previous waves done in Pokemon. I guess I'll get into that later. Wind graphics, that little island, like very Pacific Log Town-ish. I love it. Like I like that little aesthetic. I like how it looks. I hope, like a lot of other people, I hope you don't have to get into every building, but at least being able to get into some and kind of see the interiors of places, I think it's always been fun. Lots of little fun things you run into when you walk into buildings. You have a little stair step here too, so I wonder if that's kind of how you come in, or if it leads to another area. You got these other looking like different house structures like in the background here. Not sure what that's about. I think it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a lot of cool stuff there. Little reefs, like I'm pretty impressed. This is another one I'm gonna point out as well. Trees. If you had a bit in the community, heavily in Galar, trees are a major issue for a lot of fans. Big issue. And this is one of the points. I think they know that. Sunset looks great. Right here, this is another mechanic I've seen in the leaks, where you're going to be able to like actually use fire types as like a torch. There was an image of a Charizard with his tail like actually illuminating the space. And this kind of just confirms it, where Slugma, like it makes sense. Slugma is literally lava. Lava lets off a glow. So right there, you could use your Slugma to go in like a dark tunnel or something and be able to light up the whole area. And I think that's pretty sweet. You got your little Center Scorch here. Pikachu. And people have noticed, like, this is a new, like, battle stance for Pikachu. And I like it because it's more natural. He's a rodent. He's, like, been caught up, getting it, not attacked, but confronted. And one thing I hope I see here is the fact that there's no Pokemon sent out. Like, the trainer is literally just chucking this Pokeball to catch this Pikachu. Very much like the Legends games. Legends ZAs, that was really nice. It's something you don't want to waste a whole bunch of time like battling and everything. You just throw your Pokeball. If it doesn't work, then you can engage it. Once again, tree. Keep an eye on that tree. And there's another one of the balloons in the background. Like and the big thing I want to point to here is the texturing. This rock texture, it's pretty good. Like it looks good, especially like I said, we'll look at comparisons later on. That's a pretty good texturing for rock. For Pokemon. And of course the ground cover looks good. Wingles, Krabbies. What's it? Like this kind of hammers to home the point. Like look at that. Like, at the flashing lights. It's a very common theme park resort thing to do. And the lights and everything. I definitely think this is gonna be some place we can be hanging out with. I think it'd be really fun to be able to explore like all these rooms. A lot of people have noticed with Corsola and Marini here, kind of seeing if we can see more of that more naturalistic like how Pokemon react in like nature, like be able to get them beyond just static encounters, because Marini and Corsola have a little bit of a history. Marini's hunt Corsola. Obviously, I don't think they're going to show Marini's actually eating Corsola. Pokemon's not that crazy. But still, like being able to see how they react. Like I like to see Pokemon just randomly like launch a couple moves at each other or something. Just to, like reacting, showing that they're aware of everybody in the space. I think it'd be really fun to see them go for it. Some of those huts, swamp area, like the biodiversity of this game, I think is going to be incredible. Obviously, textures on the flower isn't the greatest. There's another point I'll make later on, and I'll just make it here. Like this game is not releasing for at least a year. Like I've seen estimates I've seen them release games in January and March, and there's a point about this I'll make a little bit later that I heard from another YouTuber. A YouTuber I've been following for a long time. He makes an excellent point that I really think nails home a big reason why this game is being pushed. Carvana, Temple, Slugma, Duskulls, and then real quick, because I always loved how like since Galar, Pokemon's really been world building in the background. So right here you see an advertisement with a Slowking. Don't quite know what it is advertising, but Pokemon have been doing this a lot more recently, like I said, since Galar, where they really used Pokemon to kind of like make the world seem alive. Like there's advertisements with Pokemon on it. Like there's actual things in there, like there's the language, which is very unique for each region, almost like languages. So I really like how they've been doing this. Good example of it right here. Once again, windmill. I think that is deliberate, absolutely deliberate. For beyond the fact this is called Winds and Waves, I think the windmill is completely deliberate. And of course, the little path, shadows. Like the shadows here are crisp. Like for how far out this game is going to be, like obviously the trunk right here is a little funky, but still, like I think these shadows look good for what the state of the game probably is. And then we get to the big thing, the starters. I think these starters are honestly okay. I don't think they're blow it out of the park great. All three of them, I think, have a lot of potential. Obviously, at the end of the day, everybody judges the starters by how the final evolutions look, because that's what we spend the most time in, the final evolutions. So with, like, personally right now, I am more Gekwa, because I've always been more of a reptilian-leaning person, from Charmander to Fuecoco. Very rarely do I go deviate from the reptilian Pokemon. But close second for me is Pom-Bomb. I am a dog person, and I love how we finally, after 10 generations, get a starting dog Pokemon. I don't know why it's taking so long. And once again, we get another grass bird. Kind of interesting since we had Rowlet not too long ago. I mean, you can say the same thing with Gekwa, with Sobble, who's a little bit more recent. But still, like, I think these starters aren't bad. Rowlet, I think will grow. It's growing on a lot of people. It'll grow on me too. Pom-Bomb, adorable. Little Pomeranian. I have a little Shih Tzu. Not exactly the same dog breed, but it's a small, fluffy dog. So, near the heart, I've always been a big fire type lover too. And then Gekwa, that little laugh. It's kind of funny. I just hope, my biggest hope and prayer, and I'm praying Game Freak doesn't do this. Do not make a furry. Do not turn Gekko into a furry, please. We've had furries almost every single generation for the longest time. I just want normal looking Pokemon. I want Gekko. Honestly, my hope is Water Dragon. And then you have one of the other stars, Fairy, to balance it out. But if Gekko could be Water Dragon, it'd be like a cool like Leviathan. Like the Geochris level Pokemon. Like I think that would be great. But we'll see. I mean, obviously Pokemon doesn't care what I think. That's just my hopes. And obviously I think Pom-Bomb needs to stay on all fours. Gekko can kind of be that dual, like primarily on four, but can be on two for nature of being kind of how Gekko already is. Rowlet obviously is gonna be 2 feet. It's a bird. But Pom-Bomb needs to stay on all fours, boy. Please stay down. And this shot right here, like I've seen a lot of people mention like this could be like a teaser for the future legendary reveal. It is a very interestingly shaped cloud. I don't know. I've also heard people talk about things to the gimmicks. I don't know. I will say the one graphical thing, if I'm going to be critiquing something, the one graphical thing I'm really worried about is these clouds. They seem very, like, they're very pixelated. Once again, we have over a year. So I think that there's plenty of time to get things cleaned up. And then, of course, diving into the water. Near confirmation that the dive mechanic is back, which I think is going to be fun. Diving was never my favorite thing to do at home because there really wasn't much biodiversity down there. Not biodiversity, but diversity of creatures down there. And clamp roll and relic count. And I guess you had chin chow, but that was about it. Here, like right, just looking here, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like there's 7 different Pokemon just in the screenshot alone. Like, of course, they're gonna be all water type, but I think it'd be funny if you had more Pokemon akin to Grappalocked and Pincurchin, who are water Pokemon but aren't water type. So I think it'd be fun if they get a couple more of those made. I think it's kind of like with honestly with Charizard. I think there's a difference between dragon type and dragon like. Where Charizard is a dragon like Pokemon, so technically it would be a dragon, but he's not dragon type. And I think the same concept with water, with like I said, Grappalocked, Pincurchin, Pokemon that are obviously tied to water but aren't water type. So I'd like to see more of those introduced, which I think they can definitely do. Oh, Tynamo. Tynamo is another example. Obviously a water Pokemon, but not water type. Strictly electric. Perfectly fine with it. I think that's cool. Oh, 8. I didn't see the Krabby. But yeah, just this view right here. Wailords. Please, Wailords, be massive. I want the feeling of sending out a Wailord and disappearing behind it. Just funny, just takes out the whole battlefield. And of course, just shooting up into the sky. The coral reef, real quick. Like, there's a little shot right here of the reef. And just the seaweed in general. Like, I am super excited just for diving because it's going to be cool. Like, coral reefs, I've never been to the Great Barrier Reef. I don't think I'm ever going to go, but I've seen pictures of it. And just the pictures of the Great Barrier Reef is gorgeous. It's like a little like rainforest under the sea. So I'm hoping if they are doing like a heavy dive mechanic, I'm hoping it's very similar. Honestly, if it's very similar to how Legend of Zelda kind of did the under spot, that not under, it's not actually under. I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically the whole map, but underneath, like something similar to that. Obviously not to that scale, but it's basically like a whole second world just under the water. I think it would be fantastic. And of course, we're shooting up Pokemon. And this is one thing that was confirmed by the leaks. Winds. I do like the graphics of how this looks compared to with the leaks. Or I guess people have made of leaks. Winds and Waves. I do also want our legendaries to be legendary. Like Koraidon and Miraidon is really cool, being able to be around them and all. But they just, at the end of the day, they didn't feel like legendaries. Because they weren't legends. I mean, they were like your pet. I mean, it's cool and all. It was fun for them to experiment with it, but I really want our legendaries to feel legendary. Like, I want Groudon and Kyogre, Rayquaza, Lugia, Ho-Oh level legendaries again. Please, Game Freak, give those. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, whatever they do, I think it'll be great. This was a big point for me and a lot of other Pokemon creators is this release date, 2027. And like I said, there were hoops and hip hops. If you ever watched him, I recently watched his video where he kind of went through the trailer and everything. And he brought up a point that I think makes the most sense. GTA 5 or GTA 6 is supposed to come out November 19th of 2026. That is normally the release date for Pokemon games. Every Pokemon game is released about that mid-November level. And it makes so much sense that Pokemon just doesn't want to deal with... Because I mean, I never played GTA games. It's not my style. I know a lot of people do. And it's supposed to be huge. Like, I've seen the graphics. It looks great. Like I said, not my type of game, not my style. But I think it's gonna be a huge release. And I don't think Pokemon really wants to just... Like, if you're a business and you're looking at finding a way to make your 10th generation, like you're one of the longest standing media franchises in the world, Why would you want to make your life that much harder to get this new game you developed out there by releasing it around the same time, if not on the same day? As I said, I think Scarlet and Violet released on the 18th. I think it was 18th of November. I have to check. I'll have to check on that. But it released that same window of time, like that same weekend that GTA 5 would really give everything a track. So I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think that's. I think that is the reason why they decided not to do it. And I said, Hoops and Hip Hop was the first one I saw make this point. I 100% agree with him. I think this will be one of the biggest reasons, even though they'll never publicly say it, the biggest reason why they push it back. Because then you can get past the hype of GTA 6 and be able to have a fresh slate in 2027. It also gives you more time. Like here, they could do. Like I heard there's a couple things say it's scrapped because they may not have had the time. I'm hoping that some of those things that are scrapped that sound pretty cool, they'll be able to do now. Like, hey, you gave yourself a little bit more time. Obviously, for me with the Nuzlocke, I'm working on, and there's other projects I want to do too. It gives me more time. So, but yeah, ultimately, 2027, like, yeah, it's a bit of a shock and awe at the beginning. At the end of the day, I think it's gonna be okay. So, and then jumping real quick to the website, just a couple of details they brought here, kind of explaining more about the Pokemon. Water Gecko Pokemon, which I thought I saw a meme where it was one of the classic dumb mistakes in the anime where Ash accidentally calls Trico the Water Gecko Pokemon. It's the Wood Gecko Pokemon. I had a little funny reference right there. Obviously, they're all going to have the standard starter abilities, Torrent, Blaze, and Overgrow. But overall, I mean, talking about how Gekwa is a very shrewd, intelligent Pokemon. Pom Bomb is very stereotypical dog, kind of blank-headed, just wants to have fun and play. And then Browlet, very energetic, photosynthesis, and clumsy, which I did see one of the leaks talked about how the starter was supposed to be a dopey little guy that would grow on people. The starter was going to be a fan favorite, or the fire was going to be a fan favorite, and the water was going to be that kind of like cool Pokemon. So I could definitely see that being the case for all three of these. They're all strong in their own different ways. I've seen people love one, but not the others. Love all three, love two, and not one. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think they're going to be great. Like, there's nothing about them that really, like, makes me think, oh, these can't be starters. Like, they look starters. And then, of course, protagonists. I think these protagonist designs look great. I was not the biggest fan, and still to this day, not the biggest fan of the overall look of the Scarlet and Violet protagonist. Is mainly their clothes. That hat was ridiculous. I hate that hat. See, this one I like it. It's like that classic, like almost Australian outback hat, the safari hat. So I think it looks cool. Protagonists look great. Winds, you have the little, they said safari hat. Waves, you have the ball cap. For me personally, like I like the ball cap look, but I'll probably end up with Waves. I think a lot will come down to how the legendaries look for respective games, and of course the Pokemon, like if there's any version exclusives. Right now I'm leaning toward Winds because I'm pretty sure that one's gonna be cooler, but I do like the way the look of the hats. Like I personally wear a ball cap a lot, so personal bias. Once again, a confirmation. It's open world, Bluefield Wisp, Wind Wisp Islands in vast oceans. I don't think that's there by accident. So at the end of the day, I think this is a big thing that Pokemon really wants to nail, which is why I don't think they had much of an issue pushing it back to 2027, because after all the controversy from Scarlet and Violet with graphics, with overall just the look of the game, like it looked pretty meh as far as graphics go, landscapes and whatnot. So I think they really wanted to nail it with this one, and I think they will. I think they'll be able to pull this one off. I'm very excited to see what they do. And at the end of the day, like, I honestly have high hopes for this game. And like I said, I'll kind of break down, and I'll kind of do this right now, like a couple things we want to look at. Number one, I think the biggest thing that they wanted to emphasize was windmills. So if you look at the windmills, in the Scarlet and Violet original release trailer. They had the classic renewable energy windmills, and they looked like hot garbage. Like the FPSs were garbage. Like they were moving so weird. You can see it, and it kind of hurt your eyes a little bit. And I think that's a big reason why in this 30-minute trailer alone, they showed 3 different shots of windmills to show like, hey, we got it right this time. Or windmills look good, and we still have a year to go. Once again, comparing to how things looked in the initial release trailer for Scarlet Violet, compare this one, the water, no comparison. Like, I'm sorry, the water looks amazing in this, doesn't look as good in the initial Scarlet Violet trailer. And the biggest reason I bring up the initial Scarlet Violet trailer is theoretically these games are about the same point of development. And just the overall look and feel of these trailers compared to the other ones from Scarlet and Violet is worlds different. I think that they wanted to prove a point that, hey, we did it. We heard the criticisms. Once they take a look, tree from this new trailer, tree from the Scarlet and Violet trailer. The trees look good, texturing looks fine. Grass was another big thing that always bugged me. Like transparent grass didn't even look like it belonged. Comparing that to this trailer, I think it looks great. And just the overall landscaping, once again as before with the rocks, like at the end of the day, I think it looks great. I have very high hopes for this game, especially that they're giving themselves time. But ultimately, that's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. And yeah, let's just enjoy the ride. It's going to be huge seeing all the updates that are coming. I think it will be more of a trickle, but I think they're going to give us enough to keep us busy. So I think it'd probably be like a new trailer every 2 or 3 months if I had to guess, with a few more ramping up around Christmas time. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be great. But these are just, like I said, my thoughts. Let me know yours in a comment. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed these more breakdown ones. I do enjoy these, like being able to kind of get my thoughts out there. And at the end of the day, just let me know what you think. And if you want me to do this for future trailers coming out for this and other Pokemon games, and just other games in general, I have a second channel where I do non-Pokemon stuff. If you guys want me to do trailer breakdowns on that one, just let me know. And be sure to follow over there at Traveler McKay's Adventures. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this one at Trainer McKay's Adventures. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya.